lovelies. Hopefully your week has been good. This week I read Belzhar by Meg Wolitzer. Great last name reading. It was a really little book, but it took me all week. I literally had to power read it yesterday to finish it. Apparently, after you read a 725-page book, you go into a small reading coma that you can't read quickly to save your life. Maybe just this week's been also really difficult for me, so I just haven't really had the energy to spend a few hours every day reading like I normally do. Normally stay 1 hour, at least stay up 1 hour later than my husband every night to read, because I'm crazy. But this week has been tiring and weird, so reading didn't really happen. Thankfully, I chose the tiniest book in my TBR to read this week. So, this book, Belzhar by Meg Wolitzer. Meg. Not Maggie. This is Meg. It's about a girl named Jam who, Jam, that's what they call her, like a food. That name didn't do it for me. I kept wanting her to have something other than Jam as a name. I mean, it's short for Jamaica? Jamaica? Maybe I was reading it wrong the whole time, because I do that. Anywho, so she has lost her boyfriend to death. What happened to him, no one really, you aren't told until the end of the book. But she's been mourning him for like a year, and her parents, after consulting with her therapist, send her to the Wooden Barn, which is a therapeutic boarding school. At first she kind of hates it. I mean, who wouldn't? You have to get out of bed and go do things when you aren't in the mood to, and you get a new roommate, which you've never had to deal with before in your life. The thing about this school is that everybody is damaged in their own little way. And Jam's been chosen for one of the 5 positions in Miss Cunell's, they call her Miss Q, special topics English class. And in there, other than just Jam, there is Cassie, Sierra, Griffin, and Mark. It's very quickly obvious what Cassie's major problem is. Not how it happened, but she's in a wheelchair, and it's definitely something that's new to her. Everybody else's flaws, broken bits are on the inside, and something that this class, they slowly get to learn about each other. They are given a journal when they get into this class, and Miss Q says, write in this every night, write this in this whenever. But at the end of our semester, you're going to hand it in. I'm not going to read it, but it'll be handed in at the end of the semester. Along with I have no words today. Along with filling out their journal, they're reading Sylvia Plath, the Belzhar, and her poems that she has. As we got to know every single one of the main characters' problems and what they were trying to overcome, I really enjoyed finding out that little behind the scenes knowledge about all of the characters. With, slowly learning about those characters, you slowly got to learn more about Jam and how she had been before and after her boyfriend had died. Reeve was his name. He was an exchange student from England. You slowly get to know more and more about what their relationship was to her, And at the same time, you see her finally coming out of that shell she built after his loss. She starts being close friends with this little pack of special topics people. And she also becomes friends with her roommate. But she starts to come out of her shell and become a real person again instead of just sadly being sad because of her loss and grieving. Though one of my big problems was while reading this, you got to know about everybody else's problem, their major faults, what has broken them. But you hadn't really found out how Reeve had died. And, they talk about everybody else's problems, and just slowly you keep going, why aren't we talking about this? Why don't we know about this yet? Okay, here's some spoiler time. You learn this pretty quickly. The journals that they got at the beginning of their special topics class have special properties. When they write into them, especially you have to write about your trauma, as they call it, you get brought back into that moment, that day of the event, and you get to relive it. But instead of the bad thing happening, it's filled with a hope or a dream of what you wish had happened. Say with Cassie, who was in the wheelchair, instead of her mother crashing the vehicle, she can still run, and she can run super fast, and it's amazing kind of thing. But when it comes to Jam, you slowly keep going, well, I only see all the good things. I don't understand why she isn't getting to the moment when Reeve died and something else happens. She's just kind of in a permanent state of happy. But at the same time, she questions it, and she's not that happy in it. So you start really, what happened? Who knows the answers of what really happened here? And I feel like what happened in the end of the book explains so much why you're questioning this whole time. But, I don't want to ruin everything. So I won't tell you how it ends, because it's such a little book, you can read it in a week. Probably less than that if you are motivated. My overall feeling of this book was that it was really well written. I wish it had been a little bit quicker in the beginning of the book, so maybe it drawn me in a bit more, but due to this week's nature, I don't know if anything could have made this book a quicker read for me. I really did enjoy how the characters were written. They had enough substance, most of them. I feel like Mark was kind of a forgettable pillow. He could have just been a couch for all I cared. I don't know if he was exactly needed, but you had to fill the 5 people. But otherwise, I think most of the characters were written really well. They had enough substance to them to make the story kind of sit there after you're done. See how human emotion really affects us. How thoughts and feelings can affect our reality a lot more than we put our belief in that they do. I totally understand the being depressed, being out of sorts, and not being able to do things that you enjoy or really being yourself, because it's hard to focus on other things. This book I would probably give a 3 out of 5. Maybe at a different time in my life, if I reread it, it could change my mind, but it was good. It wasn't amazing. It made me rethink a bit, but not go out and change anything. And it wasn't so thrilling to me to read that I had to get it finished kind of thing. This week I'm going to try to read Crown of Midnight by Sarah Maas. I believe it's on my TBR. I hope it's on my TBR. I also realized that this month part 1 of Mockingjay is coming out, so I should probably reread that book this month before I go see the movie, because that's what I've been doing with the other 2 movies so far. But we'll see if that fits in anywhere, because who has time for more books at this point, since I don't know how far I'm going to get into my TBR. Hopefully I don't get sidetracked from my TBR, because I have 2 other books as well. I believe it's the Sea of Shadows and Snow Like Ashes that I added. Maybe there's a 3rd one. Oh no. Yeah. Ugh. How many books did I put on my TBR? Ooh, maybe I should check that. I don't know. So, I just realized that I started reading Crown of Midnight and it's not on my TBR for this month. So maybe I should put it down and read one of the other 3 books on my TBR, because I'm a dork and apparently can't remember what I put on my own TBR this month. So hopefully everyone else is doing really good reading their own TBRs this month and not randomly adding other books. I will attach down below a link for Belzhar, and let me know how you feel about this video and what you're reading this month, week. Maybe you take a year to read a book. I don't care. Tell me about it. Have a great night, my lovelies.